Take it away.
And we're live on the Stables Network.
It's finally here. The NFL draft is tonight at 8 o'clock from Commissioner Roger Goodell's basement. As he announces each pick, we have Tom Brady trespassing in parks, breaking and entering, making himself right at home in the Tampa Bay area. Good afternoon and welcome to ATL Prime Sports, brought to you by the Association of Professional Ball Players of America. I'm Todd Porter. Yes, times are crazy. Let's get right to it with my guest, Lou Gamlin, ACHA hockey national broadcaster, and also calls football for the MichiganSportsRadio.com. Lou, welcome to the show today.
Hey, Todd, thanks again for having me, and it's an absolute pleasure.
What times? I mean, I open up Twitter today, and there's Tom Brady, like I said, breaking and entering.
Yeah, it's a crazy time when you can't even go to a park and throw a football. It's what do you do? Everybody's in the same boat right now. We've got a draft tonight that kind of gives everybody a feel of what it was like in the 70s when there was no pomp and circumstance. You just gave the pick and you moved on. So it's like I said yesterday, at least, there isn't 17 rounds of this like it was back then. It's only 7 now.
Oh, thank goodness. But I tell you what, though, it won't feel like the 70s if you're Roger Goodell in his $1 million basement. I mean, they showed pictures of that today on television, and that's probably better than most people's houses.
Well, I'm sure it is.
That part won't feel like the 70s. That's for sure.
No.
But the rest of it,
no.
The communication issues and everything, we're going to get one. You're going to get a communication issue tonight. Somebody's going to make their pick, and Roger Goodell's going to go, where'd it go?
I know. It's funny, isn't it? You just never know right now. And everybody's under games that none of us in this generation have ever been in. And so you just got to roll with it. I'm just glad as a sports fan and a football guy that we are still having the draft tonight. It gives us something to look forward to and something to talk about leading up to tonight. And then, of course, in the next few days once the draft is complete.
I know there won't be any games, but at least there'll be a sporting event for 3 days, and I'm very thankful for that. This should be the highest rated draft ever.
Oh, I bet. I 100% agree with you. And it's funny is, you look at for people, for something to bet on it. I've gone on the website that we sponsor on our website, and they've got all kinds of prop bets and, the lines for like who will be the third quarterback draft. Every team, what are they going to pick, offense or defense? So where there's a will, there's a way for that. For those that like to bet on the games, this is your fix right now for that too. It's incredible.
Well, I tell you, speaking of the games and speaking of the picks, let's get started with the Atlanta Falcons. There was a report that they tried to move up to number 2 to get Chase Young. Potentially moving, trading places with the Redskins, and the Redskins said no way. So who do you think the Falcons will take? Will they move up or will they stay at where they're at now at 16?
Well, I'll tell you, Todd, I think they're still going to move up. You brought that point up the other day, Tuesday. Dimitrov he's good at that. And I just read something. I've got it up right now while we're talking, and there's something new that I saw that Daniel Jeremiah's got them projected trading up to number 9 with the Jaguars and taking Derek Brown, defensive tackle. Now, I honestly think, Todd, we talked about this Tuesday, and I'm sticking with this. I think the Falcons, along with the Lions, need an edge rusher and a lockdown player. If they trade up, I'd rather see him get somebody like C.J. Henderson or, even an Isaiah Simmons. Now, to get Simmons, they're going to have to trade up even further, I think, maybe to Carolina or possibly the Giants, because the Giants may even take him. But I hope as a Falcons fan or as someone who wants to see them succeed they take an edge rusher. Derek Brown's a talent, but I think that they need somebody more on the outside.
Well, I think they need somebody on the outside, but I tell you what, if they happen to trade up and get Isaiah Simmons, the kid from Clemson, that would be awesome. I can understand why the Redskins did not move. They already have a good defensive line in Jonathan Allen and company, and they've got those linebackers, Sweat and Kerrigan. I mean, this to me, this will just add strength to their defense. And Ron Rivera is a defensive, minded coach. So I can't see the Redskins moving from that. And with the Falcons, you got to be careful. They only have 6 picks. So you don't want to mortgage their depth in this draft or next year's draft. But they're in a desperate mode to win. With Dimitroff and Dan Quinn, they've got to draft defense with every pick to keep up with the Bucs and the Saints.
Well, here's my question. You and I were, we were kind of bantering a little bit back and forth on Twitter earlier today about the situation with them trading up. Obviously they're probably not going to get number 2. I mean, you're right. Your draft equity right now isn't the greatest. And I'm thinking if they were to trade some type of asset, I mean, what would they be willing to part with and what could they afford to part with to maintain that chance to be relevant? And, a great point was brought up too. You mentioned with the Tampa Bay getting Gronk, so their weapons, it's incredible. They're going to have to get help on the defense to stop them. And I think that's imperative with every team in that division. And, if they're going to hang with them, they got to go defense. And I don't know. I like them possibly trading up to get a CJ Henderson or an Isaiah Simmons if they can do it. But boy, they would really have to mortgage the future. And I don't know if they're willing to do all that.
We're going to find out about, about 4 hours or so. So, by the time they make the pick at 16, it's going to be around 10 o'clock. If they're not, if they're picking before, we'll know. But the 16th pick about halfway through will be about 10 o'clock tonight. And, see who they take. The kid out of South Carolina, defensive tackle, and Kinlaw. If they end up staying there, that's a possibility. You just never know. I think everything is wide open at this point.
Well, I think if they don't move and they're still at 16, I think they take Clavon Chason, the edge rusher out of LSU. I'm sticking with that. I think he's an upgrade. And it's like he improved throughout the year in my book. And I think he's right for the taking. If they don't take him, I think Dallas would take him at 17. Although I think Dallas may take Henderson or McKinney. And that's another option maybe they might look at is McKinney at 16. So that's my opinion for Atlanta if they don't move. But I just, you've got it ingrained in me. Now I'm a believer that they're going to figure out a way to trade up to get somebody like Simmons or Derek Brown.
Let's stay in the South. Who do the Bucs, Saints, and Panthers draft?
Well, it's funny. As I read something today, and I almost fell out of my chair that the Bucs might go after a receiver, and I'm thinking, why in God's green earth would they do that? In my opinion, Todd, the Bucs, I think Andrew Thomas is going to be as an offensive tackle. I mean, he was a beast at Georgia, and I mean, right in your neck of the woods. And I think that would be the perfect spot because, in my opinion, Tampa Bay's got a decent defense. Obviously, they got the weapons. They've got a embarrassment of riches at tight end and at wideout, but they got to have somebody to help keep Brady on his feet and not his behind. And I think that's where their weakness is. And, if I'm Carolina, again, I go with an edge rusher, or I go with either Simmons if he's there, or Derek Brown, unless, again, there's a trade up for him. That's my pick. And if I'm New Orleans, as much as Bryce Love, or I'm sorry, I always call him Bryce. Jordan Love would be tempting. I don't think he's going to be available. I'd go with A.J. Terrell, cornerback out of Clemson.
Those are solid picks. You get to this point, you more often than not, at first round's always probably the easiest one to hit on because these are the projected as the best players. You know, for the Bucks, I agree with you, Thomas. If he's not there, maybe they take the other tackle from Iowa. You know, that's always possible. The kid, what's his name? The kid from Iowa, not Ken Law.
Tristan Wirfs.
Yes, thank you. So, you know, or they could shock everybody and go for Swift, the running back here out of Georgia, and then get the offensive tackle later. But I think protecting Brady, you've got him for 2 years at $50 million. You better protect him. And, you know, I know he can get rid of the ball quick, but you got to have somebody protect him before he ends up, so he can last 2 years. So, and for me, the Panthers, if Isaiah Simmons is there, you've got to grab him at 7. If he's not, then, you know, they'll make the adjustments. They might get the kid out of Auburn in Brown. So, you know, we'll see a defensive tackle. And for me, the Saints, I think this is a surprise. I think they take running back Jonathan Taylor out of Wisconsin.
Wow.
They get it before he even gets to round 2.
Wow.
What do you think of that?
That would be a shocker. That would just prove to me that Kamara's on the block and he may go somewhere. I would be surprised if they did that. I think they're set there. That just tells me that there's something with Kamara, unless they want to, you know, if they're content with him and Kamara in the backfield. You know, the other thing that I saw was they may go after a wide receiver like Jalen Reagor out of TCU. And
they just didn't pick up a wide receiver. You know, they acquired from San Francisco. They picked up. Why am I stuck on his name right now?
I don't know.
They picked up the receiver from San Francisco that the quarterback overthrew by just by an inch last year.
For God's sakes, I'm drawing a blank too. I'm sorry.
I'm drawing a blank on his name, and I thought of it a minute ago because I was going to refer to it. Now I forgot.
Wow.
Too many names here today. So.
Oh, I agree.
You know, I mean, hey, but I think they're going to go running back, and Taylor will be the change of pace. You know, he could, he's the big bulldozer, and then we'll see. I mean, with the Saints, you never know. But we'll find out. You know, you mentioned Dallas, and I'll go to America's team because that's what they used to call it back in the day. I guess they do still to today. I'm thinking, I said it last night, I've got this feeling they're going to take a quarterback at 17. I think the contract situation with Dak Prescott has reached a point where they're really tired of it. They can't come to a number. That I don't know if it's a number or if it's years or each one or whatever it is. And then if he doesn't participate in the off-season stuff, even though they really can't, you can't be present for it. It'd be done all video or audio or whatever.
Right.
I think they might be ticked off enough to draft a quarterback like Jordan Love out of Utah State. It would not shock me if they went that way. Would it shock you?
Yes, it would. It would shock me if they went in the first round, because here's my reasoning on it. If they're going to get a quarterback, I think it's going to be either in the second or the third round, because of they won't have to pay him as much. And the route they went with Dak Prescott being in the fourth round, if I'm not mistaken, and correct me if I'm wrong, if they don't pick him in the first round, they don't have to offer him the fifth-year option. And so I think that's why they may wait. I think that
that's a good point. That's true.
They have a glaring need at the defensive backfield. And again, that's why I think if I've got him taking Xavier McKinney and out of Alabama, there's a guy that he's motivated. He's one of these guys with that, what I can't stand is that proverbial chip on his shoulder. that he thinks that he's getting disrespected, so he might be out to prove something, which could fall into Dallas's lap. But we all know how Jerry Jones is. He's his own person. He makes his own decisions. And if let's just say this, Todd, if the draft a few years ago would have been like it is today, he would have picked Johnny Manziel because he was in love with them, and
Very
his
good.
son talked him out of it. So on your talk, he might be right. He might go after love. I've got Dallas picking Jalen Hurts in the second round, and because he can get him a little bit less expensive. You got a guy who's got all that raw talent that I think could step in, and if they don't get Dak, and I think he can prove, I think he's a proven winner. But I'm going with McKinney or C.J. Henderson for Dallas.
I think he's a proven winner too. There's no question about it. Dak Prescott's won a lot of games, but the negotiations have got to be irking the Cowboys organization. It's got to be irking the Joneses. But you got to kind of let that go. I've got him taking Chase on Caleb and Chase on the edge from LSU, just because I have the Falcons, moving up and taking someone else. So I think maybe he could be there for Dallas right at 17, or C.J. Henderson will be there too. But golly, it just, I think of Dallas, if cool heads prevail, they wait and they get Jalen Hurts. He's already been on video with them, and they've already put it out there on television to everybody. So, maybe the Cowboys will not go for Love in the first round and wait and take Jalen Hurts. Either way, I think they're taking a quarterback, and this will be a wake-up call for Dak Prescott to hurry up and sign that tag.
Oh, 100%. And if he doesn't already know that it's all about business, then he knows now. And, I mean, Dallas has got a lot of money that they've tied up with other people. They proved it, with Elliott and with their receiver. Gosh, his name's escaping
Amari
me
Cooper.
again. Amari Cooper. That's right. Giving him, $20 million a year. I mean, that's why I think you're right. If they can get a quarterback to the ilk of Jalen Hurts in the second round, which I think they're going to go, you could see somewhat of a lean towards the changing of the guard there in Dallas. As crazy as it sounds, to me, Dak Prescott is a good quarterback, but I'm still comparing him to a Matt Stafford or they've never won on the road in the playoffs. And I think that, that's just how I feel about him. And to me, he's not worth the kind of money that he's wanting, $38 million or whatever. That's unheard of.
Dak's personnel is way better than Matt Stafford's ever been. He's had a way better offensive line. He's had a
100%.
running. I mean, if you gave Matt Stafford the Dallas Cowboys offensive line and the running game that he has, oh my goodness, Matt Stafford would be unstoppable. I think he's a hell of a quarterback. He's just stuck in a situation that just never seems to get better. The Lions have they haven't had a running back since Barry Sanders. I know they had Reggie Bush and all that, and that didn't work out neither because the offensive line is so porous. So, when you were thinking earlier about the Saints, it was Emmanuel Sanders that they acquired.
Okay.
So, I don't think they go wide receiver, but back to this. He has all the weapons, and we talked about last year with Philadelphia. Man, the Eagles, they got the job done. I mean, they got the job done with less personnel. They had a bunch of injuries, and their quarterback did a great job with less personnel than Dak did, and that's why the Eagles won the division.
Oh, I agree, and I think you're going to see the Eagles going after a wide receiver in the first round. I've got him taking Brandon Ayuk out of Arizona State, unless they trade up, because you convinced me about Jefferson. I think he could be a top 12 pick. And and that's another reason why I think Dallas takes a safety, because the Eagles are going to get better. And if they want to beat the Eagles, they're going to have to stop their wide receivers. And their defense isn't going to be able to stop the pass. And I've said this yesterday on my show. This is a quarterback league. So now you need a cornerback to stop them, a shutdown. That's what Detroit needs. I think Dallas needs it. Teams like that you got to be able to have that guy. And I don't think Dallas has that right now.
And Carson Wentz, he just simply outplayed Dak last year. And, Dak wants us all this money. And I still think the Cowboys I think they're wrestling with it. I think if they could trade up, they might. But the Cowboys haven't traded up in a while in the draft in the first round. I think it's been 5 years. So we'll see what they do. The Bengals rejected the Dolphins' inquiries into the number 1 pick more than once, according to sources. Do the Fish take Tua at 5?
Boy, that is the $10 million question right now. It is what is keeping guys like us doing shows, because we look at what one side or the other. I've been reading stuff where now Tua may fall all the way down to 9, and that way the Jaguars won't trade. Yeah, you're looking at maybe them going with the Chargers, maybe going with Isaiah Simmons, and then going after a quarterback in the second round. But I think it's a smoke screen. I don't know. Flip a coin, man. Flip a coin if Detroit's gonna draft, if they're gonna trade down. We talked about it Tuesday. My ideal scenario would have the Dolphins trade up to get to at 3, and then Detroit have 5 and 28 or whatever, 26 or whatever the pick is. I don't know. Yesterday I thought it was going to be Herbert. Today I'm thinking Tua. At 6:00 I'll think Herbert again, and then when we go on tonight at 8, it'll be Tua. I'm stumped. I'm going to stick with what I said yesterday on my show, and I'm going to say Justin Herbert goes 5, Tua goes 6, and let the chips fall where they may. And Jordan Love, I've got going 19 to the Las Vegas Raiders.
And they don't need a quarterback. Wow. It's kind of like Dallas. You never know what they're going to do with John Gruden. I'll say Tua stays at 5. The Dolphins can take this chance because they've got 3 first-round picks as of right now. And I'll say Justin Herbert goes 6 to the Chargers. I don't think these quarterbacks get past pick 6. I just don't see it. These NFL teams historically have not let them go past a certain pick. And once one quarterback's picked, like we're all expecting Joe Burrow to be picked at 1, then all of a sudden the teams that need them, they grab them. The Dolphins, they need they have Fitzpatrick's a serviceable quarterback. I think he's really, he's pretty good. He showed that last year. We took the Miami team down, and they beat New England at New England to end the season to keep the Patriots from getting a bye. So, Tua could sit and learn under Fitzpatrick. Herbert, he could sit and learn in San Diego if he wanted to with Tyrod Taylor. So, to me, you got to take these quarterbacks. They don't come along. They just don't come along every year. And historically, these teams haven't moved from them. So, so you got San Diego taking you got San Diego taking did you say Justin Herbert or the Dolphins?
No, I've got the Dolphins taking Herbert at 5, and then Tua going to the Chargers at 6. But again,
you got it reversed from me. Okay.
Yes. Yep.
Okay. We don't see him moving past just because, like I just said, I don't see it neither. You mentioned the Lions. Golly, here it is again. Do they stand pat at 3, or do they find a partner, move down, and acquire the picks? Does Bob Quinn get it done? Because he better get it done.
Well, I'm telling you, if they stay at 3, and if they don't take Okuda, I'm gonna, again, I'm gonna be upset. Derek Brown, yeah, he's a player, and I don't want to take anything away from his ability, but I don't think that is the number one need of the Lions. They have to get a shutdown corner. Again, it's a passing league. You're in the division with Rodgers and with Cousins, who likes to throw the ball. Trubisky's not bad. He's not world beater strength, but
He might not even
it's just
start
the way
in
it is.
Chicago.
Exactly. It's just the way it is. Like I said, yeah, you've got some decent running games out there, but Detroit couldn't stop anything last year towards the end, even with Slay. And I mean, you got to have it. Detroit doesn't. And that's why I think they got to do it. I mean, the only way I can see them not taking him is Isaiah Simmons is good, but Okuda is there. He's a shutdown player. That's his position. He doesn't move around, and I want him there. And then in the second round, if Detroit doesn't do anything, I could see him taking Taylor, or if J.K. Dobbins is available, taking him.
That'd be a beautiful thing if they took Jonathan Taylor or Dobbins. Dobbins has haunted us as Michigan fans. Acuna's haunted us as Michigan fans. Wouldn't that be wild if they took Ohio State round 1 and 2? It would remind me of the days of taking Chris Spielman.
100%. It wouldn't break my heart, but it's like you said, this is the Lions, and they're a team that snatches defeat out of the jaws of victory or whatever. It's just, you never know what you're going to get out of them. So nothing would surprise me with them.
You call me crazy, but if Isaiah Simmons is there for Detroit at 3, I'm taking him because he can play. He says he can play in the secondary at the safety position. He says he can play outside linebacker. He can play inside linebacker, and you can throw me a DN. I can play anywhere, and I've seen his tape with Clemson. I would take him if he's there at 3. But I just hope they're not there at 3. I hope they've actually traded down. So we'll see. Is there any surprises? Let me ask you. Let's go with a bold prediction in the draft. We got about a minute left, minute and a half or so.
Well, my bold prediction really is, like I said, it's all the way down to 19. I think they take Jordan Love at quarterback only because they're moving into the Raiders. I think they're moving into a brand new city, a state-of-the-art Taj Mahal, and they want to get some big names. I've got them taking Judy at 12, and I've got them taking Love at 19. That's going to put shockwaves because I think Derek Carr, this is his last year there, and he can learn behind them. And he's a Utah State guy, and that's my surprise right there is Love at 19.
Mine's Love too, but going to 17 to Dallas. That's my bold pick. I'm thinking the Cowboys will not do it, but I'm sticking with it. I picked them to take the running back a few years ago from Ohio State there, Zeke, and they did it. So I've been hot with Dallas, so I'll stick with it. Real quick, we got less than 2 minutes left. Who surprises you going up and who goes down?
Well, if I'm surprised by anything, it would be the Lions making the trade with Miami, but not taking their 5th pick, taking like 18-26 and one of their second round picks. That's been rumored. And that would surprise me. I'll tell you, they do that tonight. You're going to see a rant on our show tonight. I'm going to tell you that right now.
You just might have to get cut off, and you might have to go off the air.
I'm telling you what, exactly. Now, moving up, I would say moving up, watch for Green Bay maybe to move up to take a big-name receiver, like one of the triplets, I call them, CeeDee Lamb, Judy, or actually Jefferson or Ruggs. Look for them to maybe move up into the mid to late teens to take a wideout.
Yeah, that's possible. Geez, that's just what the Lions need. The Packers to get a stud wide receiver with Aaron Rodgers. Yes, that's what we need. Lou, real quick, tell us about tonight, what we're going to be doing at 8 o'clock for everybody out there.
Well, what we're going to do is we're going to be on it's called the 12ouncesportsnetwork.com. 7:45 broadcast starts. We're going to be having our own draft show, the NFL Draft on 12 Ounce Sports. It's going to be you and yours truly, and also we're going to have Logan Ward. He does our morning show on our network, and also I think Cody Janner, one of our other hosts, may pop in for a little bit. It's going to be our version of the draft show, and we're going to have some banner back and forth, 7:45 Eastern time on 12ouncesportsnetwork.com.
So are these all Michiganders like you?
No.
Oh, okay.
No, we're
are they
all
former
across the country.
Michiganders? Oh, okay.
No.
Because you're
No.
a current Michigander. I'm a former one. And I
Mhm.
thought, what the heck? We're all going to beat up the Lions tonight. So I guess we
Probably.
won't do that. Just me and you will beat them up instead. Lou, thanks so much for coming on. And we will. I'll talk to you tonight at probably about 7:30 before we go on the air at 7:45.
Very good. I look forward to it. And thank you, as always, for having me on the show. It's always a treat for me. Thank you.
Thank you. Lou Gammon, ACHA national broadcaster, and also does high school football in the state of Michigan. Well, that's the end of our show here on ATL Prime Sports, our NFL Draft Special. Thanks for joining us. Really appreciate it. Check it out tonight, what Lou said, and listen to the draft show on 12 Ounce Sports. Good evening, everybody.